We are just weeks away from the launch of Blackwood chapter in the Elder Scrolls Online Update 30 for the PC, and I wanted to give you the huge changes coming so you know exactly what to expect. Welcome back, gang. It's Deltia from Deltiasgaming.com, and today I'm going to summarize these changes as they will have a big impact on builds because there's so many gear and skill changes, which I'm going to summarize, as well as other important features coming to the new chapter in case you've missed any of my previous videos. Whether you're a PvEer, PvPer, or someone in between, you'll want to watch this video and be prepared for the latest chapters in the Elder Scrolls Online. Timestamps are below if you wish to skip ahead, as well as other important links and references. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss another one. Thanks for watching. First section up is skills, and I'm going to cover the most important ones as I see from the PTS. Links below if you wish to click on those posts. One of the major ones for magic users and group play is Necrotic Orb from the Undaunted skill line. As you see here, I'll summarize, too long didn't read. Undaunted was ticking every half second instead of every second. They changed that and reduced the damage significantly. I think the reason they did this is to make this a little bit weaker for solo play and also group play, so you're not mandatorily having to use this, because this really should center around group play, getting resources back, having a little bit of damage, and having that big explosion was just insane. So giving you an idea of what this looks like on the PTS, while playing, the tooltip I had for Necrotic Orb matched my Unstable Wall of Element Destruction Staff, meaning the damage over time was roughly the same. Unstable Wall has an explosion at the end which will add a little bit of damage. Orb is still a fantastic ability for group play, damage dealers, and even healers. You gotta use this thing in certain situations. However, you may be taking off your bar in solo instances, so be aware this is going to be a little bit more situational than a must-have. Moving along, we have two massive changes for stamina users. They're going to add a lot of damage. First up is Caltrops, the Alliance War skill. So if you look here, they bumped up this damage per tick 36%. Absolutely staggering. So they lowered Necrotic Orb for magic users, they bumped this up. I've been using Caltrops in almost all my builds, solo and group, because I like the major breach component, I like the damage over time in a large AoE, but now this is pretty much going to be standard fare on your stamina buildings going forward if this makes it to live. Because 36% damage is going to be nasty, even single target. In group AoE damage, fantastic ability. Another huge change in ability I've been using for a very long time, Blade Cloak. I love this ability in PvP using the Quick Cloak morph, and in PvE I love the Deadly Cloak morph. It's from the Dual Wield skill line, gives you AoE damage reduction and some AoE damage as well. Quick Cloak gives you a little extra speed. So usually I use this as a flex spot. I'll use Consuming Trap if I need more resources and sustain, if I'm not playing with a coordinated group, throwing out spears and orbs. But now, the ability is going to deal double damage instead of double ticking, and they increased up the damage by approximately 25%. So it's going to reward you for playing melee up close and allowing that to tick over time. So you gotta put this on your bar, stam users. You're going to want to have this thing, along with Razor Caltrops. Big AoE damage improvements for stam users. One change I'm not a fan of, and that's Stampede change for the two-hander, essentially making this an unbelievable proc build that can one-shot groups and players. We tested on the PTS with the bunch of procs with the new scaling, which I'm going to cover in a little bit, and I did over 500,000 damage with the press of one button, AoE target. You thought the Viper days were bad? Buckle up, because this is going to be a nutty unless it gets adjusted. You'll be having nightmares of Stampedes, Hunter's Venom, and Unleashed Terror on your death recap. Another change, Templars got a buff. I'm going to do the too long didn't read version of this. Essentially, restoring focus is awesome. Now it gives you healing based on your max health for staying in your little focus area. Tanks are extremely survivable using this, but oh my god, Stamplar PvP is going to be nutty. They're already very strong, but having this rune focus down with a very low cost stamina, giving you a nice amount of heal, absolutely insane buff to the Stamplar. It's an incredible change, though I wish my Magplar still had the old Luminous Shard CC, but that's a poor Deltia moment. Moving along. Moving along, let's talk about the ultra controversial proc sets returning to Cyrodiil, which will be pushed up to update 30, meaning Blackwood. Now, I'm not going to go on a long tangent of what I believe or don't believe about proc sets, but I want you to be aware, Blackwood update 30, you're going to see proc sets in Cyrodiil again. Speaking of proc sets, they went through 2 rounds of adjustments. So you need to be aware of the damage dealing proc sets, healing proc sets, max magic, max stamina, tank proc sets, we're going to be max health or physical and spell resistance. So the way the functioning of the helms and the monster helms are going to be drastically different, making you prioritize stacking weapon and spell damage or whatever that stat is versus what you used to do, just throwing them on and allowing them to work. The problem with the scaling is this. It's a lot easier for medium armor users to get weapon damage because you have a passive that gives you a lot of weapon damage for each piece of medium armor you use, while magic users get offensive penetration for as much light armor that they use. So personally, I don't know how this gets solved, and my opinion on it is this. Full proc sets day 1, it's going to go live. You're going to see a lot of Vicious Death. You're going to see a lot of Hunter's Venom, Unleashed Terror, Crimson, and so on. So be prepared. Even though they've been nerfed and toned down some of these, you're going to see a lot of them. Additionally, this scaling will drastically affect PvE potential of monster helms, since generally PvEers stack critical rating or critical damage versus spell damage or weapon damage. So how I'm going to adjust my builds, I pretty much swapped out most of my monster helms for either Mythic, a 1-piece Mythic, and a 1-piece Monster Helm like Slimecraw for extra critical, or I'm using Balrog's Monster Helm because I can use it to burn down bosses as a 2-piece, but you're going to see me swap out a lot more of my Monster Helms in PvE for Mythics because ZOS is really leaning into the Mythics, and I think that's the future of the game where Monster Helms aren't going to be that prevalent, though I could be wrong. More on Mythics later. Let's keep it moving. We have a bunch of new gear coming out. Some of it's great, some of it's underwhelming. So the crafted gear selection here, I would keep my eye on Hiss Whisper for massive sustain, and Heartland's Conquer could be really, really good. So 2 of these are very, very useful, it looks like. The Overland sets, in my opinion, are a bit underwhelming. Frostbite looks really cool for a Magic Warden, but it just doesn't have enough oomph to outweigh Mother Sorrow or Medusa's or Juliana, so I can't really see using it. The other 2 I tested, Deadlands Assassin and Bog Raider, very underwhelming, and I can't see using them over other sets in their current iteration. However, the trial sets are going to be absolutely amazing. I'm going to bury my face in my keyboard and play those trials over and over and over because each one of these sets is going to be awesome. Souls Ons is going to be an absolute insano for stamina DPS and even PvP during my testing. So you want to pick this up. Make sure to get this. When a mob dies, it's going to leave a soul. It's kind of hard to see it, but when you pick it up with that Harpoon's Waiting Kilt, which I'll get to in a little bit later, it's going to be a deadly combination. And then just look at the heavy armor set. When you cast an ultimate, 21 seconds of major force, that's what Warhorn gives you for 10 seconds. And it has a cooldown of 30 seconds. That is going to be insane, and let's say adjust that. The healer set's also really good as well. The light armor DPS set, you're going to want to be focusing doing those trials over and over and over, and just do normal if you can't complete the hard mode or the veteran version like I can't. So I'll just do the normal, pick up all these day 1 or 2, and I think these are going to be the game-changing sets you're going to switch to. Blackwood has also added some insano mythics, which have gone through a couple rounds of tuning. So each one of them is really, really good, but 2 particularly stuck out to me. Gaze of Sithis, which eliminates the effectiveness of block, but makes you much tankier. So I imagine I'm going to use this on something like my Stamina Warden, because it fits perfectly with my playstyle, being really aggressive, upfront, in your face, but I don't block. I don't rely on blocking, per se, so putting a 1-piece mythic and dropping a monster helm will make a lot of sense. Meanwhile, Harpoon's Waiting Kilt will be tons of my range and melee group PvE characters with the dedicated tank. Love this item set. It's going to ramp up in damage as you deal direct damage, both light and heavy attack weaving and some skills, and you're going to get 10 stacks. It got toned down, so if you take direct damage, you're going to lose 5 stacks at once. But if you're playing in a dedicated group with tanks and healers, you should be able to maintain a lot of those stacks. And think about it, for one piece on your body, your legs, medium armor, this thing adds so much damage, especially if you can keep those stacks up. You're going to probably swap this in. So think about getting this priority number 1. These 2 mythics, game changers. Lastly, the base game has seen some love with Imperial City. Way to go, ZeniMax Online. Yes, so 3 new monster helps in IC. Very, very excited about this. You're going to have to kill these specific bosses. You'll see this in the video. So get ready to gank or be ganked, because this is going to reinvigorate Imperial City. One I think is going to be really, really good is the charge set. So when you take damage while below 50%, you gain immunity to immobilization, snares, crowd controls for 10 seconds. Imagine this on a slippery Nightblade. Using Shade and then using Undo as well, you would be very, very hard to capture because you can get away really, really easy. Love this set for that. Gorlosh, whatever the heck you call it, the Destroyer, I did test this. This is freaky powerful. So you're going to get this if you want to be that troll tank in Cyrodiil or Battlegrounds just sitting on a Chaos Ball. So think about picking up those 2. Something else you're going to want to be aware of is Battle Spirit has affected health recovery and reduced it by 50%. So you're going to need to factor this into the food, the drinks, the gear, the champion point system. All those things you've been using to amplify health recovery, just be aware it's still good, but not nearly what it used to be. Now let's switch gears and talk about the new features coming to the game. And I have separate videos on all of these, so I'm going to summarize, links below and cards if you want to click on specifics and get more of a deep dive. Basically, it's the standard fare. So you have a new zone, quest, a new trial location, public dungeons, Oblivion portals is something new. So if you're a quester and you like housing and you love the lore and the look and the feel, this zone is absolutely fantastic. It's a little sparsely populated, so it has a big, huge, sprawling area, but it doesn't feel as dense in information, mobs, and quests as the previous one. So that's just my opinion on it, but it is gorgeous. Oblivion portals are next. Got a separate video on it. They're basically a visually appealing public dungeon that can be soloed with well-equipped and skilled players. Truthfully, they're awesome to do initially, but they have very little incentive beyond getting the overland sets, and I've already gotten over the overland sets. I don't think they're that impactful, so if they were, I could see doing these over and over and over again, but right now, beyond the initial thrill and beyond the initial collection of the overland sets, I can't really see a whole lot doing it. I got a couple achievements, and I got some leads for the mythics as well. 1 lead for the mythics, so there might be a little bit of incentive, but they're cool. I don't know how much I'm going to be doing, to be honest with you. Companions are coming to ESO, and I personally think of them as a battle buddy rather than a full-on member that could replace a group mate because they die too damn easily. So, give you an instance, I soloed Veteran Dragonstar Arena Stage 1 on my Magic Sorcerer, and I thought my companion would help me. I ended up just leaving it dead and just finishing the thing because it was easier than sitting there rezzing the companion. But I will say this, ZeniMax Online Studio has made improvements to them, and I feel they will continue to do so, but don't expect them to go solo every veteran hard mode with these companions, because they just die, and they're not functioning that well. However, if you like them for the story element, you are going to be thrilled. The interactions, the dialogue, the fun, the flavor, absolutely fantastic, but just don't assume they're going to be tanking veteran hard mode dungeons, because they're not. The new trial. I didn't complete the trial in the PTS, but I did play a bit of it, and really can't form an opinion because I lack experience. However, what I can tell you is this. I plan on living inside there until I get all of those gear sets because they're all absolutely insane. And some of them are going to be best in slot for a lot of builds. I'm planning on living in that trial doing normals until I get that sticker book filled out. Endeavor system coming to the base game, I think one of the most undervalued and talked about things, which is basically another currency system that will reward you for doing things you're already doing. But it gives you the caveat of actually earning Crown Store items without purchasing them. So I think this is going to be a fantastic system to incentivize you doing daily and weekly rewards and just keep you playing the game. I'm really excited about this, and I don't hear a lot of people talking about it, but I think it's going to give you a lot of incentive for logging in and having a clear direction with, this is what I need to get done today. Now, another thing you got to be aware of is champion points. They've been tuned down big time. So, yes, they removed the cap, but not really. So now, essentially, the cap is right around 1,500 in terms of power because of the slottables. You can have a bunch of passives that you pump up, but the slottables is what makes you powerful. So around 1,500 or so, there's really not a whole lot more of incentive to get champion points. Moreover, they changed some of the constellations and toned down the impact of these trees. Instead of four tiers, now it's 2. So you're going to notice a loss of crit, maybe a loss of health, a loss of damage. You're going to notice a lot of DPS loss if you were someone that 1,500, 1,600 or over. So I'm personally not a big fan of the champion point system. I don't know how to solve it per se, but just being aware, they did make some changes, and they also added another healer constellation in blue. So a little more flavor, but it needs a lot more tuning to be really good, in my opinion. Well, gang, that's a quick update on some of the major impactful changes, but I'm sure I missed some. Either way, I hope you viewers got something out of this so you can be better prepared for the launch of Blackwood. I'll do a full review of Blackwood chapter when it launches officially on live, and we'll see the impact of proc changes on the live server, how companions function in combat, and how the new bells and whistles, gear, sets feel and augment my builds. Look for the link in the description below on individual videos referenced on the topics we've covered. And thanks for watching.